So first up, let's get us more details of what this UK report is all about that we just spoke about. The UK Review report is warning of Islamist and pro-Khalistani extremism, inflaming anti-India sentiment. Now, what this essentially means is that for the very first time, you have a major report that has been authored by agencies in the UK that is underscoring the same concern that India has raised from time and again. Now, this is actually a 192-page report, the details of which will also flash on your screens. So I'll quickly read out what we know more about this report, and I'll also request our producers to put highlights of that report on your screens. Like I said, this is a report that runs into a good 192 pages. The operative parts deal with how an anti-India rhetoric has been flagged off in the review. It warns against anti-India rhetoric over Kashmir, over pro-Khalistan extremism in the UK. It warns of radicalisation of the UK Muslims. Rhetoric also from Pakistan impacting the UK Muslims. It is also warning against the false narrative that is being tried to build by a certain few. Now, time and again, like I said, this has been a matter of concern, particularly with New Delhi, that has raised this issue time and again with the UK. For the very first time that you have a UK official report that is speaking about the growing dangers of these elements, and it says we need to act on it sooner rather than later. On the bottom of your screens, you're looking at more details that we have recovered from that report now. That is in the public domain, and more images also, remember, of such instances that have come to light, particularly in UK, in London and in the suburbs, that have raised that palpable issue of threat when it comes to radicalisation. Also the fact that these are elements from Pakistan fanning that tension. And did anyone take note earlier? Because like I said, in spite of the fact that New Delhi has raised this issue time and again with its counterparts in the UK, we haven't seen much of a movement or even acknowledging that there is a real concern. It has been a very timid response, but this time around, it is a very, very direct reference to Pakistan. It's a scathing indictment of the role that Pakistan, remember, has in fanning terrorism, in leading to elements of radicalisation, something again now that has started to become a global worry. And Sanika also joining us now live from our Mumbai newsroom. She has more details of this report that we are talking about. Sanika, if possible, why don't you take us through the operative part of this report? Like I said, up till now, it's been a very timid response, but for the very first time, you have the name of Pakistan that is mentioned in this report, and something that India had again and again, Sanika, been underscoring.
So now, Deepthi, this was actually a committee that was reviewing UK's anti-terror, the counter-terror operations and the counter-terror strategy that has been announced very recently. And these were the recommendations that this committee, that this scheme was given. This was a recommendation to the Home Secretary that was made. And as per these recommendations, they have flagged off that Islamist extremism is a primary threat to UK. And they also said that the radicalization of UK Muslims over Kashmir, and they've flagged off this threat, as well as they've called the pro-Khalistan extremism potentially toxic. Now, just to give our viewers an overview of the report that has been made, it says that the anti-India rhetoric has been flagged off in the review. Now, this is very important in the light of the violence, the anti-Hindu violence that took place in Leicester a few months back. So this is one of the measures that has been recommended by this committee to the UK Home Secretary as far as the fight against terrorism is concerned. They warned over the anti-India rhetoric using the issue of Kashmir. Now, this report has also named a Pakistani cleric who has called for violence. Now, this report has said that there is evidence that a Pakistani cleric has made calls for violence using the issue of Kashmir. They've also said that there is a pro-Khalistan extremism that is emerging in UK. Which is potentially toxic. Now, remember, Deepthi, in the year 2018, our colleague Shawan had travelled to UK. He had in fact stung a few pro-Khalistani groups, and that is when Republic had in fact spoken about and exposed the Khalistani threat emanating from the UK soil. So now this report has also flagged off this concern in the UK of the growing Khalistani, of the growing patronage to Khalistani elements in the United Kingdom. Now, what we can also tell our viewers is that UK Home Office has taken note of this entire report, of the suggestions that were made by this committee, and the UK Home Secretary has in fact said that the threat from terrorism is becoming more complex by the day. Islamist terrorism remains a primary and deadliest threat. It is of primary concern. The Islamist terrorism is of primary concern, and greater emphasis will be placed on tackling Islamist ideology. And also, the threat emanating from Khalistani ideology has also been taken note of in the United Kingdom.
All right, Sanika, for the moment, I thank you quickly. Also, Colonel